Hey everyone, it's Kate. Welcome to my kitchen. I hope everyone's staying well and safe and staying home and finding ways to still stay active inside your house. I've been trying to find ways to get more creative with my workouts, still applying the Pilates approach and movement patterns, and trying to find ways to do some of the exercises that we do on equipment, but just with things that we have inside our house. So today's workout, all you need is a mat, if you have one, your kitchen or dining room table, a chair, and a towel. We'll get started. Okay, so we'll get started with our workout today. Before we get into the workout, the first thing we'll do is just start to become aware of our alignment from head down to your toes. So first things first, the head stacked over the shoulders are stacked over the hips. We're making sure that our hips, knees, and ankles are all in line with each other, and becoming aware of our foot position as well. If there's a tendency for the foot to fall in, or maybe your arch likes to roll out, just becoming aware of that and trying to keep equal weight through the inner and outer portion of each of your feet. From here, we'll bring our hands to our rib cage and start with some breathing, trying to slow down our breath and becoming more present in the moment. Trying to take our mind off of what's going on in our lives and what's going on in the world, and for the next moment or two, becoming more just aware of what's going on right now. So I'll bring our hands around our rib cage and we'll start with some breathing. So as you inhale, we're just allowing those ribs to expand east to west. As you exhale, drawing those ribs down and together as your belly button draws in towards your spine. And we'll keep going. Exhaling, belly button drawing in towards your spine. And we'll keep going here, thinking about breathing into our back as we do. Keeping the shoulders relaxed. And just warming up those deep abdominal muscles with our breath. From here, you can continue breathing at that pace or whatever pace is comfortable. We're just going to warm up our neck and shoulders to start. So we'll take an inhale here to prepare. And as you exhale, just go ahead and turn your head all the way to the left. Allowing a nice stretch through the right side of your neck and shoulder. Inhale, come back to center. And exhale over to the right. And we'll just do a couple more each way. Inhaling back to center and exhaling over to the left. And we'll keep going. This time when you rotate, we'll stay. Opposite hand, holding on to the bottom of the chair here. And then just looking down towards your hand. Getting that nice stretch on the side of your neck here. Mine's especially tight from being home for 2 weeks now. And then we'll look over to the right. And then looking down, holding on with that opposite hand to give a little bit more of a pull from that shoulder, stretching that neck muscle from both points, where it attaches behind your ear and down by the side of the shoulder. And then we'll bring our head back to center, and we'll just do a few motions side to side. So we'll bring the ear to the shoulder now, still keeping that opposite hand plugged down below the chair, getting that nice stretch through the side of your neck. Inhaling back to center, and exhaling to side bend over. We'll do one more each way. And last one. From here, we'll start to warm up our spine a little bit by doing a seated roll down. So we're going to actually separate our feet to make room for our hands. So you can bring your feet just about to the width of the mat in front of you. And we'll stack our hands one on top of the other. We'll start here, take an inhale to prepare, And as you exhale, begin to tuck that chin towards your chest. Slowly articulating one bone at a time off an imaginary wall behind you. As you roll forward, hands start to reach behind your legs and under the chair, getting a nice stretch through your spine. Inhale and pause at the end of your range, and exhale, belly button to spine, stacking up from your sacrum first. And then continuing to stack one bone at a time, back up. Last to rise is your head, neck, and shoulders. We inhale here, and exhale to repeat. Last one. Inhale and pause at the bottom. And exhale, belly button to spine, stack up from that lower spine first, finding that deep abdominal connection as you do. And continuing to stack one bone at a time, all the way back up. From here, we'll separate the hands. We'll bring the feet back to hip width apart, feet in line with the hip, getting that activation from the inner and outer portion of our legs. Let's actually go to palms facing each other. We're going to work on some shoulder motion while activating our upper abdominals. So we'll take an inhale here to prepare. As you exhale, glue down those ribs as you begin to reach the arms overhead. Keep the shoulders plugged down, lats engaged. Inhale, pause, and exhale, bring the arms back to shoulder height. I'm going to go to the side for a second just so you can see the difference here. So when we lose that connection and you begin to reach the arms overhead, notice that my ribs begin to flare and I start to get a lot of extension through my low back or arching. What we're looking for is by activating that abdominal connection, the spine stays in a nice neutral position. Maybe my shoulders don't go as far, mine are actually pretty tight. But we're working on finding that connection between our shoulders and that activation from our abdominals to keep the spine in a neutral position. So we'll do a few more like that. Inhaling here, exhaling, arms reach overhead, keep that abdominal connection as you do. Arms come back down. Let's do one more. Exhaling to lift. Inhale, pause. Exhale to lower. From here, we're going to go into a seated spine twist. So we're going to try to keep the feet still sit bone distance apart. We're going to try to keep equal weight through both of our sits bones. So from here, arms are going to come out to a T position, palms facing up if that's comfortable. And just being in this position, start to become aware of what's going on around in your shoulders if your neck starts to tense. I would say for my body type that there is a tendency as soon as I bring my arms up for my arms to kind of want to glide up. But we're still working on that lat activation of trying to keep your shoulders plugged down as you keep this arm position, and especially as we start to rotate. So we take an inhale here to prepare, and as you exhale, go ahead and rotate over to the right. Inhale to come back to center, and exhale to rotate. And inhale back to center. And we'll keep going. Notice if I force the motion, this left knee wants to come forward. There's not a control aspect to that movement. So as you rotate here, find the control from your core so that you keep that left side of your pelvis stable, equal weight through both sides. Inhaling back to center, and exhale to rotate. Right arm has a tendency to want to lead here. Try to lead with the arm that you're actually rotating with. So this stays in line with your torso, if that makes sense. Inhale back to center. On this next one, when we exhale over to the left, We'll stay. Keep the left arm where it is. We'll bring the right arm to the outside of the left knee. Take an inhale and exhale. See if you can rotate a little further. We'll bring the arm back up and back in line with your spine. And we'll come back to center. And we'll do that once going to the right. So we'll inhale here, exhale to rotate. We bring that arm to the outside of the right knee. Take an inhale here and exhale. See if you can rotate a little bit further. We'll bring that arm back in line with the spine. Take an inhale and exhale. Back to center. We'll bring the arms down to our sides. They get kind of tired holding them there for a while. And from here, we're going to work into some footwork. So a little bit different because we're not using equipment here. What we're going to be doing is really just sit to stands, using the chair as a cue to sit back to. So oftentimes when people do like a body weight squat, their knees end up going forward from their toes, and they end up overworking their thighs, their quad muscles. So we're going to focus specifically on that hip hinge movement, getting our glutes to activate a little bit further. Arm position, there's a lot of different options. You can keep your hands at your hips, out in front of you, out to the sides. I prefer out in front, but it's really up to you, whatever feels more comfortable. So we're going to start with our feet in parallel. So feet are facing straight ahead, palms are facing out in front, and we're seated really far forward towards the front edge of the chair. Shoulders are still plugged down here. We'll take an inhale to prepare, and as you exhale, go ahead and stand up, using those glutes to activate as you stand. We'll inhale, hinging from the hips first, to come and sit back down, just tapping the chair. Exhale. Back up. As you lower, we're trying to keep that activation from the outer thighs and inner thighs. If there's weakness here, those knees might want to collapse in, the femur bone might want to start to internally rotate, but we're keeping that activation from the outer thighs to keep the knees in line with your hips. Exhaling to lift. Inhale to lower. We're doing 4 more. My legs are getting tired. I haven't done much this last week. 2 more. Last one. We'll inhale and lower down, and we're going to switch our foot position to similar to wide V heels. So we're going to go into a wide, so this is almost more like a sumo squat. From here, we're keeping the heels firmly engaged into the floor, but also keeping activation through our big toes as well. Hand position again is still optional. I'm going to keep mine out in front. We'll take an inhale here and exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. As you come up here, we're trying to keep that activation from the inner thighs. We don't want them to collapse in, but rather stay in line with the rest of our body. We do that by finding that activation and balance from the inner and outer thighs. So a cue I often give on the reformer is almost pretending that we're squeezing a really big beach ball. So same idea, but now we're standing. Inhaling to lower, exhaling to lift. And we'll go 4 more. Let's try to get a little bit better eccentric control on the way down. That last one I did was not very good. Last one. From here, we're going to work into a modified single leg work. So we'll start with the left leg back. Right leg you're going to kick out in front of you. What this does is it still allows you to have a little bit of balance from that right leg, but most of the work is coming from your left. So we'll still sit pretty far forward on the chair. Arms are out to the sides or out in front. Again, it's your preference. We're using the side of that left glute to keep you balanced. We'll take an inhale here and exhale to come up. Inhale to lower. Really working on trying to keep that balance between the outer and inner thigh here. Mine can use some work, honestly. 2 more. Chair felt pretty far back there. Last one. Don't miss the chair when you're doing these. That would not be good. Arms out in front. I'm gonna walk my right foot back actually a little bit for this. Shoulders are plugged down. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. 3 more, just doing 4 of these. 2 more. And last one. So we just finished our sit to stand, so we're going to work into some modified front support exercises. So that's where your kitchen table is going to come into play. So we're going to turn and face the kitchen table now. Hands are going to be kind of right on the edge of the table, and we're going to walk our feet back so that we're kind of resting on the balls of our feet, and your body is going to be in a straight line, so almost like a modified plank, as if you were standing on the floor or rested on the floor, but we're on an incline. So from here, the first thing we're going to work on is just our muscle activation to make sure that we are staying in a nice neutral alignment here. So we use our breath to engage those lower abdominals. We plug the shoulders down and head in line with the rest of the spine. The first thing we'll work on is just some serratus activation, which is a muscle that's very important when it comes to stabilizing the shoulder joint. So from here, we're going to keep the hands right where they are. Elbows are going to stay in this slight micro bend. We take an inhale here to prepare, and as you exhale, just think about pulling your sternum away from the table. And then inhale to draw your sternum back. As you do that, we're not letting the hips drop, right? So we're keeping everything in a full plank position. So head down to the toes are all in line. So we take an inhale to prepare, exhale to pull the sternum away, inhale to come back. We'll just do a few more of those. Last one. So from here, we're going to try to keep that wrapping of the shoulder blades. So we're pulling the sternum away, and we're going to keep it that way. We're going to work into a few front support exercises here. So we're going to keep the hands where they are, shoulders plugged down, neck in line. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, belly button to spine as you draw your right knee in toward your chest. Only as far that you can keep that pelvis still in a neutral position. We inhale to lower, and we exhale to switch sides. We'll do one more on each side. We'll come back to that front support position. Recenter yourself if you need to. We're going to add in a little hip extension. So still keeping that body in a straight line. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale. We're going to kick that right leg out for 8. Two more. We'll lower that right leg back down and switch sides. As you kick that leg out, make sure that you're not losing that position of your spine. So we're still keeping belly button drawn to spine here, trying not to hyperextend through the low back, and strictly getting movement from your hip. 4 more. Last one. We'll lower that foot down. We're going to walk our feet in a little closer. And from here, we're going to go into a shoulder back stretch. I'm going to keep a nice soft bend in my knees to kind of take my hamstrings out of the picture here. And we're just pushing our hips back, keeping the hips stacked over the ankle bones. Sit bones are almost reaching up towards the back corner of the wall. And trying to get a nice flat line through the upper back. Similar to our elephant on the reformer. We'll take a few breaths here. Making sure your shoulders are plugged down here. Mine weren't. There we go. And from here, we're going to work into a little bit of spinal articulation. So we'll take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, tuck belly button to spine. We're slowly rolling up into that front support position, moving one bone at a time. Inhale and pause here. And exhale, chin to chest. Slowly articulating back into that shoulder stretch. Going back into that bend of the knees if you need to in order to get that straight line from the spine. Inhale and pause. Exhale, belly button to spine, articulating back into that front support position. Shoulders stay plugged down here. Inhale. Exhale, chin to chest. Slowly articulating back into your shoulder stretch. Last one here. Exhaling up into our up stretch or front support. Inhale, pause, and exhale. Back into our shoulder stretch. We'll come back up into our front support position. We'll bring one foot forward and maybe walk the other foot back a little bit. Just going into a nice calf stretch on that back leg. So bending into the front knee here. We'll take a few breaths. Still being aware of our posture here, so shoulders are still plugged down. Trying to keep that alignment of the pelvis forward towards the table. There's going to be a tendency for your hip to want to roll out towards the side being stretched. So we're still keeping ourselves squared. We'll switch sides. Bending into the front knee. Trying to keep that heel down on the back leg. Toes pointed straight towards the table. Shoulders plugged down. And we're breathing. Don't forget to breathe. And we'll take a rest from that. From here, you're going to grab that towel. And we're going to go into a modified version of our standing lunge stretch on the reformer. So what you'll do, you're going to have the back foot on the towel. That's going to let you kind of glide easily on the floor. Front foot comes forward. Hands are rested on the table to help support you for your balance. Slight bend in the front knee. From here, we'll take an inhale and exhale to bend into the front knee as the right leg comes back. Only going to the point where you can still keep your hips stacked. We inhale to come back in and exhale to push back. And let's keep going. Keeping this kind of fluid for now. So not really holding the end range, just going through the motion at a nice slow pace. Last one. On this last one, when you push out, we'll stay. And just playing with that pelvic position. See if you can draw your belly button in towards your spine a little further. That's going to allow you to get more of a stretch through the right hip flexor. Almost favoring a little bit of a posterior tilt or tuck of the pelvis. And we're taking a few breaths here. We'll bring that leg back in and let's switch sides. So right foot comes forward, left foot comes back, squaring ourselves off, shoulders plugged down. We'll take an inhale and exhale, bending into that front knee, bringing that back leg into a nice stretch for that left hip flexor now. Keeping it fluid to start. Still keeping our hips square to the table. And on this next one, when we push out, we'll stay. And hold for a few breaths. Again, trying to draw that belly button in towards the spine, favoring a little bit of a tuck of the pelvis, which creates more of a pull into that left hip flexor. Shoulders relaxed. And we'll bring that leg back in. Okay, so we just finished our standing lunge, so we changed the camera angle so that you can, here's Duke. Duke, come on, go lay down. Okay, so we can change the camera angle so that you can see the next exercise. So we're gonna bring the right leg up onto the chair. We're going for a hamstring stretch. So from here, toes are gonna stay flexed. Arms are straight out in front of you, palms facing each other, shoulders stacked over the hips. We'll take an inhale to prepare, and as you exhale, chin to chest, slowly articulating one bone at a time as we reach down towards our toes. Inhale and pause, and exhale, belly button to the spine, slowly articulating all the way back up. We'll do that 2 more times on this side. Inhale to prepare, exhale, chin to chest, slowly articulating one bone at a time, reaching towards our toes, getting a nice stretch through the entire back line of our right side of our body, still keeping hips squared, getting a balance exercise on that standing leg. Take an inhale, pause, and exhale, belly button to spine, slowly articulating back up. Last one. And we inhale and pause, and exhale to articulate back up. We're going to stay on this side, switching the arms to a T position. Take an inhale here, and exhale to rotate towards the leg that's being stretched. Inhale to come back, and exhale to rotate. As we rotate, we get a little bit more of a stretch now through the outer line of the leg. Last one. We come back to center. We'll lower that leg back down to the floor and switch sides. Left leg comes up, keeping ourselves square to the chair, arms out in front, palms facing each other. Toes are flexed. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, chin to chest, slowly articulating one bone at a time. Again, reaching towards our toes. This side's a little tighter for me. Inhale and pause. Exhale, belly button to spine as we articulate back up. We'll do 2 more. Challenging the balance again on that standing leg. Last one like this. We inhale and pause, and exhale, belly button to spine, articulating back up. From here, we go again into that T position. We take an inhale to prepare, and exhale to rotate towards that leg. Inhale back to center. 2 more like that. Last one. We'll bring that leg back down. We're almost finished. We're going to take an inhale here. Exhale to draw that belly button to spine, chin to chest. We're going to roll down towards the floor. Once your hands touch the floor, we'll walk the feet out and bring the knees down to the mat. We'll sit back. And we're going to switch positions. So feet come out in front of us. You can scoot yourself forward. We're going to lie down on the mat. From here, we'll bring the arms down by our sides. You're going to bring your legs up onto the chair. So from here, we're doing kind of a modified version of bottom lift that we do on the reformer. You do have an option for the foot position. Heels can be on. That's going to be a little bit easier. If you want a challenge, you can bring your toes on. If you do that, you might have to back yourself up a little bit. So shoulders are relaxed. Chin is slightly tucked here to keep the back of the neck nice and lengthened. We'll take an inhale to prepare. Exhale to draw belly button to spine. Curling the pelvis back, slowly peeling one bone at a time off the floor. Coming all the way up into your bridge position. Inhale and pause. Exhale, melt down the ribs first. Slowly articulating all the way back down. On these next few, we're gonna go a little quicker. So we inhale to prepare, exhale, belly button to spine, slowly articulating all the way up. And this time we inhale to articulate back down. Let's go 2 more. Inhale, release forward. Exhale, belly button to spine, slowly articulating up. Trying to find that position where you're in one straight line at the top. And inhale to articulate back down. On this next one, when we lift up, we stay. Staying lifted in our bridge. Take an inhale here. Exhale, bring that right leg up. Inhale to lower. Exhale to switch sides. As you lift and lower, we're keeping that pelvis in a nice neutral position, not allowing it to shift side to side or rotate. Let's go 2 more on each side. Try to stay lifted. 1 more on each side. Pause and take an inhale here, and exhale, slowly articulate all the way back down. We'll hug our knees in towards our chest for a moment, just to release the hamstrings for a second. And from here, we'll bring the legs back onto the chair. We're gonna bring the arms overhead. We're gonna do supported 100 prep to start. So we'll take an inhale here, and exhale to lift head, neck, and shoulders as the arms come down by your sides. Inhale, hands come towards the knees, and we articulate back down. Let's lift the feet off the table, or off the chair rather, and we'll continue. Last one like this. On this next one, when you lift up, we'll stay. We're gonna hold this position lifted. Take an inhale. Exhale to straighten the legs towards the chair. Inhale to slowly bend back in. We'll do 3 more like this. 2 more. Last one. And we'll hug the knees back in towards our chest. Lower the head down. You can lower your feet down towards the mat. Arms come overhead. Take an inhale and exhale. Use the back of your legs to come up into a seated position. We're going to switch over to a position facing the chair now. Hands come on the chair. You're going to walk the knees back. And just sit back into a nice rest pose, using the chair as a support to open up through the chest and get that nice stretch around the shoulders. We'll take a few breaths here. Walk the hands down towards the mat. We'll walk back a little bit and we'll just do a couple cat stretches. So take an inhale here and exhale just to draw belly button to spine, keeping the upper back in a nice neutral position. Inhale to release that and lift from the chest, extending through the thoracic spine. Exhale, thoracic spine lowers into a neutral position as we tuck at the pelvis. Inhale, release the pelvis forward as you lift through your chest, extending through the upper back. Last one. Inhaling to lift. We'll come back to a neutral position. Sit back to a rest pose once more. And walk the hands forward. Just taking a couple breaths here. On your last exhale, slowly begin to stack your spine, one bone at a time, all the way back up. And we're done. Thanks for joining me.